The electric welder that I bought, the one I bought in the morning as a prelude or getting started and equipped to building a small utility shack over the other side with the vegetables for Thalinee that she'd asked about a while ago. And then as I'd left the hardware store, I got a call from Thalinee saying, "Oh, I want to go the road Mukdahan because I want to buy a small grass hut to put over with the vegetables." I said nothing. I had the welder. I've been meaning to buy for years and years and years. Well, yesterday I found a usage for it. We've got one of these carts. I'm not sure what the Thai name for it is. It's not a saleng, it's something else. Anyway, this is the old one, the original one. And it got rusty. The tube's only about 1 millimetre thick and they don't last forever. They rust through. They're almost impossible to weld because they're so sort of thin. Last year I bought a new one from him, so she's using that. That's around the corner, that's over there. It's got a nice box on it. 2,100 baht, I think that cost me. In Australian money, $100. It makes you wonder how they can actually do it. Like there's a couple of motorcycle wheels to start with. You couldn't build the rest of it for nothing because it cost you that for the wheels. Anyway, so I'm busy here doing something I haven't done in donkey's years, and that's electric welding. I was never great at it because I didn't spend a lot of time at it. Pretty well all my welding was gas welding. So these are cheap, they're helpful, they're good for little projects. I'm going to have to get my hand in. So I've been struggling with this. I've been using different size rods, different amperages, different voltages, but I'm getting there, and without spending a lot of money. I think I spent about $30 on some steel, and I've basically created a new chassis for it. So angle iron from the handle all the way up towards the back, and then the cross tubes, which are all rusted through, the original ones, a bit of 1-inch tube going across to replace those. I might cut the old rusted ones out, I might just leave them there, I don't know. So it's effectively had a chassis added to it rather than be a Monaco tube. The chassis should last a while. The rest of it will probably fall down around it. Trying to get the wheels off. Oh, the nuts were so tight and the welds were so bad and rusted through that as I put a couple of big crescents on them to get the nuts loose, it basically tore the brackets out of the tube. And so with the new chassis there, I put some new uprights to hold them. They'll be ground down and cleaned up and made look a bit prettier, but I'm not going too far overboard with it. Just make it strong, and it'll be used on the farm for all the tasks of moving bags of fertilizer around or picking bulk flowers, having multiple, where are they? Yeah, these washing baskets Mem uses to catch the flowers in or to put the flowers in. So that's my task for today. Been doing lots of other stuff. Haven't been doing a lot of videoing, so just staying in touch, guys. That's what we're about now, and I'll get back to this and get it complete. Okay, so we're a day later, and I've cleaned up on all the welds on this thing. It's still terrible welding. It's going to take me a little while to get my hand in. I didn't do any practice. I should have done, but it's the way it goes. So not a critical job, just a little cart that the wheels fell off of, and we replaced it some time ago. So we glued the wheels back on, reinforced the frame where it's all rusting. So it's got another secondary chassis there. So this morning I cleaned up all the welds and popped down shop. And I got a couple of cans of lacquer to spray on it just to cover the welds, maybe make them last a little bit longer, make the thing look a little bit sort of respectable. So it's out here now, drying in the sun. So there it is standing up. I've still got to address the wheels. The wheels on these things are 17-inch motorcycle wheels, but they've been converted to a non-braking type axle. There's no drum brake, disc brake, anything on it. It's just like a bicycle wheel, in that the hub is a simple hub with ball bearings. They're not caged or closed bearings. They're really just a couple of cups with, I think they're 5/16 balls in them. No seals, nothing to keep the grease in. They're really a mess. I can probably show them to you. But I don't know how they expect them to last any length of time, but I guess they do. I've got the wheels down the back here. I'm going to pop down to the motorcycle shop and see if I can get a couple of old tyres, because these ones are beyond old. They're split and they're actually coming apart. Soon that top will be off of them. No air in them. Hard as rocks. A bit dead. But I'll see if I can get some second-hand tyres that have worn out, no tread on them, off their junk pile. But here's the bearings. Here's the axle out of one of them. So a couple of cone-shaped seats here, and as you can see here, I think that cup might be non-original, but that's part of that axle setup. So they press a cup in, the balls live in there. There's the axle. There's a cone on this side and a cone on this side. Those washers just thrown in there to hold them all together. They're not normally there. And you just do them up until you've got a preload holding them into this cage. But as you can see, there's no seal. There's nothing to stop the ingress of dirt in there. So you grease them up, and as soon as they get a bit of dirt or whatever, that agglomerates in there and just becomes a mass of oil and dirt and muck. So that's not my ideal. On the basic styles of axles like this, they're very, very simple ones, at least in my experience in transportation, cars and trucks, etc., etc. You'd have a large backup washer like we do have here, but it's not actually for that purpose, which would sit against that and press a felt disc into that opening, and that felt disc would absorb the grease or oil, whichever is the situation, and that would perform a reasonably good seal. Old seals used to be felt before neoprene rubber and stuff and nitrile were ever available. Felt seals in engines and rear main seals all over the place, and felt works quite well. But if I could get some felt, I would certainly put it in there. But for the moment, as you can see, that tyre has completely failed. I've got one old one off of Mem's motorbike, which is a 17-inch too. She got a flat tyre, went in to have it changed, and well, there was next to no tread left on the tyre, so it's time for a new tyre. So that's that one there. A little bit bigger than the others in that it's where are we? An 80-90-17, whereas the ones that are on that little cart are 70-19-17. So a couple of decent sort of rubbers that. Not treaded tyres, just round, black and pliable. Whack some tubes in them and they'll be right. If the tubes don't work out, if they suffer too many punches or whatever, or won't hold air, I'd just get some disused or old water hose, garden hose, and I'll coil it around inside and make them solids. And that'll last for what we need here on the farm. I remember as a lad, no money to buy tyres and tubes for bicycles, and yet there was some old pressure hose lying around I found somewhere. It was high pressure air hose, multi braided wall on it, and I just cut, I forget how much it was, but it was about 3 circuits of it around inside the actual tyre, and I drove on that for a long time until the actual tyre went through the canvas, through the inside rubber, and the tyre wasn't there to hold it anymore. So that's life. That's life as a kid as I was, when you didn't have to wear helmets and things like that. I survived, I'm here, and I'm enjoying life. So that's where we're at for today, guys. That's my favourite saying, isn't it? That's where we're at. You must think I'm a quick change artist. Not really. So the story of the small car, because that's what apparently it's called. It's not a saleng. A saleng is the sidecar on a motorcycle. But when I asked Thalinee what to call it, she just calls it a small car, but she calls anything with wheels, smaller than the pickup, a small car. The little orange wheelbarrow we've got is a small car. This is a small car. The other one, which she used to go to the market, is a small car. Anyway, anybody who knows what this is called in Thailand, let me know, because you can't search too well for them on YouTube or Google. You come up with all sorts of things, and when you come up with these, they're called a water cart, they're called everything under the sun, but there seems to be no continuity on what the actual real name for them is as far as Thai language goes. So here it is. It's got the wheels on. I sorted out the bearings. No, I didn't buy anything new. I cleaned up and put back what was there. A bit of grease. Going to get full of dirt and stuff. I'm just going to have to keep my eyes open and see if I can find a solution for a different style of axle for this. It's going to be better longevity. A couple of cans of spray paint. I ran out before I fully finished, but all the welds and everything got covered. And generally it looks a lot better. But now it's got a secondary chassis in it that's holding all the rusted bits together. It's just a farm buggy, just for carrying stuff around on the farm. So yeah, there it is. Wanted to change both the tyres, but I didn't have two to put on there. Not new, not second hand. This is the remnants of one of them that was on there. As you can see, is in pieces. It is so old. Been run flat with no tube, no air in it for years, that it's all coming to pieces. So there was one tyre that came off of Thalinee's motorcycle. She had a puncture about 3 weeks ago, and because the tyre was also worn out, no tread left on it, he put on a new tyre, which only $100 or a couple of $100, and a new tube in it, and it's off and running again. This was the tyre that came off. She brought it home. She always does. But I thought there was another one kicking around, but there's not. But that's on there. It's got an intact sidewall. It's not rotted like the other one. And that'll last forever and a day here on the farm. The other one's cracked and sorry, but if we change out another tyre on a motorcycle or come across a second-hand one lying around somewhere, I'll probably grab it and stick it on. Yeah, does the job. The wheels go around. It looks a bit prettier, and it saves a bit of carrying on the farm. You know, manual carrying. You can put something of a decent weight into it and move it around on the farm, no problem. Couple of baskets of flowers, or the water pump if we're pumping from somewhere, or any of those sorts of things. So it's just another utility. It was sitting there sad and broken. I'd bought a welder for another particular task. As you know, the small shack that we were going to put over with the vegetables and stuff over there, some which rest when she's working. Well, I bought a welder because I was going to actually get some steel and make up a shack, but that didn't happen. So the welder got put to use on this. I spent, I think, about 500 baht on some steel. I've still got half of it, so about 250 baht worth of steel gone onto this. And 2 cans of spray paint, 90 baht. And that's really about it. It hasn't cost me a lot in money. It's up and running. It's another utility, I guess I'll call it that, for the farm to make life easier and to help with the workload. So rather than throw it away, rather than buy a new one, I'm a bit challenged with electric welding, but I've done heaps of other welding, gas welding and MIG welding and stuff over the years. But I didn't have an electric welder, and I don't want to invest in gas for here. Getting gas bottles and stuff is a pain in the bum. It's okay somewhere like Australia, the CIG outlets, Commonwealth Industrial Gas, CIG, everywhere. But there's yearly rental on those, even if you are not filling them. So didn't want to get into that again. But yeah, so an electric welder is the norm here. I just need some practice. But being on a farm, there's lots of stuff I can do. Correction, now there's lots of stuff I can do where previously I'd have somebody come in to build a frame or do whatever, and then be a little bit concerned because a lot of the electric welding that you see done here is pretty sad. It's a lot of the time it is using very thin metal, so it is the tack and go type welding. Some guys are okay at it, a lot of guys aren't. Having said that, and comparing my welding to their welding, well, I'm at about their level at the moment, but I did it, so I'll suck it. But I'll get better. Some of the guys that are doing it daily, you think, well, come on, guys. By now, you should be getting a lot better at this than you really are. You're missing something along the line. I know that I'll improve as I do more, so that's fine with me. So that's the story of the small car. it's up and running. Another project completed. Looks quite pretty, actually. I'm quite proud of that. Anyway, guys, just another day in Thailand, rural Thailand. No big hoo-ha, no big fanfare. Just tasks of the day and the sort of things that you might get up to if you were planning to sort of arrive here, live here, if you were planning that kind of life. Well, that's what I get up to. I like to have tasks and things to do, keep me busy. That's all for now, guys. Please subscribe, and we'll catch up in the next video and see if we can get you a bit more variety in some of the things we do. There's lots of other stuff we do that's not just sort of fun, but it can also be not as easy to get the video for you. So I'll have to brush up on my skill set and find a way of bringing those things to you. Bye for now. Thanks, guys.